Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Sitting in a
4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. They need to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The fourth one as well. Do they get the aim? They get the aim.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, friends of everywhere and anything in the world, welcome on back to some more CGL action. We're still at the very start of our postseason. It's exciting to be here because this time around we're going to be in the EU GM tier to start off our day here. Of course, all this action cannot be covered by myself, Megalas, alone. I've got Wicca with me here. How you doing today?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. You know, really excited about this game. Excited to see what compositions these guys have for us. I mean, there was a bit of a recent patch that is shaking up the meta once again. You know, you have some teams shifting over that Mauga. Some teams are stout Orisa players, and a couple other teams even trying out the Sigma in a couple places. So it's really kind of a what is the oh shoot the anyway, it's a bit of a gamble on what these teams are going to be able to what these teams are going to pull out for us, and we'll have to see what kind of matchup we end up walking into, and I'm very invested in that side of the game. And we do have 2 pretty good teams here for this match lined up, if you want to talk about it a little bit, Megalas.
Yeah, of course, Special Forces going up against Godstack here. Interesting little situation here in the EU GM. It's one of our smaller brackets across everything we have. And it's super important to note that Special Forces, they didn't get a choice here, right? Number 1 seed was able to get their pick, but these 2 teams were simply the leftover going into each other here. Special Forces, of course, they're known as this OTP team. So, you know, the meta, you know, they don't really care for it. They do not bend to its will, some might say. Meanwhile, Godstack, they definitely have had their shares of up and downs throughout the season, right? We've seen them get better and better on that, you know, stable Juno break composition that's been sort of defining a lot of these teams here as we've gone through the entirety of the CGL season. So it's going to be interesting to see how exactly this shakes out, right? Especially, like you said, slightly new patch, some minor buffs and tweaks here and there really can make the difference sometimes, especially when you're dealing with, you know, little nuances like the difference between a Mauga or Orisa potentially. But, you know, advantage for Special Forces is they don't have to really worry about it, right? They're OTPs. They can play what they want.
Absolutely, and it looks like they have a couple of different options for tank as well. So, you know, even though they are that OTP team, they might switch up their roster a bit, maybe bring in some tank variants, and we'll have to see if they do end up rolling into some comp swap ups still. And you did mention that Brig Juno, and I'm curious if we're going to see that same backline lineup these matches, just because the Brigittas may be fading out of relevancy a little bit in favor of picks like Kiriko, who did just get buffed as well in this recent patch. So, you know, we'll really have to see and
exactly
who Special Forces starts with. Sorry.
No, you're okay. But, you know, first, obviously, we'll take a quick look at the bracket just in case, because, you know, so many different things happening here at CGL. You just want that quick reminder. Plus, obviously our graphics people work very hard on making these things look sleek, so we want to show them off. We have this match of Special Forces versus Godstack. I believe sometime later this week, Team EXE and EMC Helheim will be having their bout there to decide who will be matching up in winners and losers respectively here. But I mean, just going off of this, right? I feel like we just gotta already get a look at these teams, like you were saying, starting with Special Forces. This squad, they've been OTPs for a reason. They just sort of play at what they want here, and it's gotten them this far, so you see no reason to doubt it now. Starting lineup today will consist of Carlos, one of the craziest Junkrats I've seen, and then you have Zabber backing him up. You have Get the Vogue on tank, of course, and then Wilson Smokes and Sweeney on the support line. This team, while obviously, again, they're playing these off-meta heroes, they pilot them well, and they know how to operate in these situations.
The Junkrat especially is something they have to look out for. The burst damage that hero carries with him is just incredible, and the traps definitely do make coming off those off angles much trickier for the enemy team. And Riptire is something everyone is very familiar with, and it is something to fear. So really looking to see if that Junkrat's going to be able to come out on top. And on the flip side here of Special Forces, we do have the Godstack as our second team for this winners round 1. We do have Sai Koka, apologies, Widowblade, Ekash, Khan, and Octo for this lineup here. And with Octo and Khan for the backline, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the Juno Brig like you talked about earlier. But we might also see some of Lucio come out. Maybe that's Baptiste, and they could lean more into that kind of classic brawl composition that we've seen for years and years in Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, it really is going to be a test here for Godstack, right? Anytime you're going up against a team that does not bend to the meta, right? All of a sudden, it calls into question a lot of things, right? Can you just pilot the meta through them if your backline's getting focused down? Because, I mean, regardless of what tank you end up going, right? I think Juno Brig really have been the highlights of the meta so far. Do you have to actually, provide some level of flexibility, right? Almost like a counter-picking situation. You used to see it a lot with, teams would go Wrecking Ball. Even if Sombra wasn't good, you'd still play the Sombra sort of as a ball deterrent and see how the match evolved from there. But, Godstack, maybe they'll lean more on those reliable things, but it is sort of a wait-and-see situation here. But we shouldn't be waiting too much longer, because looking forward to our map set. First map has been picked, and we are starting on Lijiang Tower. Is anybody surprised?
No, nobody's ever surprised by this pick for the first map. Lijiang Tower, probably the most popular control point that Overwatch has ever had. Nepal, a close second, but Lijiang Tower for sure, wins out a lot. And I think based off the champions that these teams prefer, if we start on Control Center or Night Market, I do think it's going to favor the Godstack a little bit more, just because they seem a bit more comfortable on those compositions that rely on those, short corridors and more inside-oriented maps. But if we do start on the tower here, which I believe we are looking at these fishies, then it's going to be a bit more in favor of Special Forces. And, with that Doomfist and the ability to really play more varied locations and a bit more in the open with that pick, we'll have to see if they're able to do it as we get the match started here.
Getting it started on Garden, Godstack, piloting what a lot of teams are playing right now, right? It's this Malga Reaper being able to be together in close quarters, dealing tons and tons of damage, but Special Forces, like you said, on this Doomfist, is going to be a bit of a faster pace for them, right? I think the main key part is making sure that Sweeney does not get isolated in this backline and focused down by potentially the Echo.
Block already being used by the Doomfist on the Special Forces side, not going to be able to find anything with it, and Power Punch not coming through. And it's just a lot of back and forth here as Saikoka looking for damage, does find some onto that front line. The Doomfist just trying to punch this Malga, trying to buffer, can't do it. Ekash gets the kill at the beginning of the game, and Saikoka on the off angle. Does they have the kill on the Baptiste? I think they have that lamp still. Lamp does come through. They do live a little bit longer. Saikoka ends up going down. Sweeney doing a great job of taking out that Echo, and will not be able to get any more value here, though, as the Godstack, I mean, they just won that frontline war before, but Saber trying to live on this point as long as they can, contesting. Deflect is out, but the Brig, you know, is able to bash through that. Sweeney, though, getting 2 picks this fight. Both DPS down for the God Stack as the fight ends up swinging back in favor of Special Forces. Doomfist knocking ECAJ off the map there as they come back from the respawns. And in a fight that looked like really in the favor of Special Forces, or sorry, of the God Stack, Special Forces were able to swing it back in with that quick respawn and really off the back of Sweeney of those picks.
I mean, yeah, man, we're having a little bit of discourse here, in the match chat here, potentially a region misclick, misinput, if you will. But yeah, very interesting way that first fight ended up boiling down. Godstack, while getting initial picks, could not really turn it into, you know, an overall fight win. They were able to get a few percentage points on the board here. But still, like you said, those fast respawns coming out from the side of Special Forces, it enabled them to get back in the fight in a very aggressive way that Godstack just simply wasn't ready for. So now, you know, heading into the next one, we could potentially be seeing a map reset due to the fact that, you know, we were playing the EU regions game on NA. That might be a problem. But we'll just have to wait and see how that fixes itself.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we saw there, we did see both. We will be doing a full restart, so, you know, we might be on a different point as well for Lee Jang going into the first point. But I think the interesting thing to note there is that Godstack was running that Mauga composition. They had the Reaper, they had the Echo, and I think now that we've opened up map 1 here, they might orient their Reaper more towards a Tracer pick, just for some flexibility into the Doomfist there. And the ability to really get that Baptiste, you know? Sweeney doing a fantastic job with those picks, able to get both DPS, and then respawns coming in more quickly for the Doomfist team is really what you want to play for on that kind of point, right? You know, long contest coming out from the Genji that was just marking card, and I mean, Special Forces, you know, they really did a good job of playing to their composition strengths, and we'll have to see if it continues through now that we've reset here.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you know, it's a very important situation, right? When you have these little technical snafus, it gives each team a little bit of thinking room about what just happened, right? Even if, you know, for whatever reason, Godstack was not prepared, wasn't aware of what the OTPs on the side of Special Forces were going to run. They're more than aware of it now here, even if we're in a different setting here on the night market. So we'll have to see how these teams want to adapt. It seems like nobody's going to be making any hero swaps to start here, both feeling their composition is just fine as it is. But one thing you're probably going to be looking out for is probably Psychoka has to be the one to sort of get into the backline, find some pressure onto this Baptiste, and potentially remove them from the fight.
Teleport was used by Tom McDay, you know, was looking for a bit of an angle here onto their Carlos, though, has point pressure, doing a good job. Trap does find the Mauga, has to get out of there, though, getting pretty low. ECAJ still at half HP here, decently healthy. Khan trying to heal them up. Psychoka taking a lot of damage from Special Forces, though, is able to survive, and Godstack has control of the point here. We'll just need to hold it. The Brig is getting really low, and Octa goes down, is getting the vote, gets in there with the punch, and an easy trades coming back through for the side of Godstack as Carlos and Wilson go down, but Saber able to take down Khan. ECAJ finds Sweeney. No supports available for Special Forces here. Can the Doomfist find more value? Saber ends up going down to Psychoka, who is 1 HP here. Siggy's coming through from onto the Doomfist. No block available. Has to try to get out of there. Is not going to be able to make that movement tech to get back into the spawn, and Aretha coming through from both teams. And Godstack, this time they come out on top of fight 1.
Yep, they actually are able to clean it up this time. Very crucial for them here. And so now it's going to be about these off angles. As Wilson decides that the cliff just looked a little too inviting. Maybe wanted to get a taste of it for themselves. But now Special Forces, you see them currently all stacked up in main here. Not really the way that you want to play this composition, but I guess it's just sort of to get their Baptiste positioning while figuring out exactly where they want to go. Now it seems like the rotation is going to come from the right.
You really got to be aware. Doomfist in there is doing a lot of pressure. Psychoka almost has a copy online. Punch, oh, not quite able to find anything. The whip is there for the Brig, doing a great job there. Punch not able to find anyone off the map yet again. Psychoka, just with the stickies and with this beam, he was able to find multiple picks on the side of Special Forces, and still has his copy available as well. Won't need to use it. Is Mauga getting a little close to the edge there, almost pulling us in smokes, but you know, Doomfist just gonna have to back out and reset.
And obviously, you know, the environmentals are enticing, especially if you're on Doomfist, you're getting these empowered punch in these fights, but I feel like you can't focus on it, right? Like, if there's an actual natural setup, go for it, but you have to just be willing to go in with this punch a little more aggressively for Vote.
Block used by the Doomfist. Window does come through from the Baptiste. Copy though. Psychoka copy the Doomfist. Has a huge punch at the beginning. Has the power block. Hits another punch immediately as get the Vote getting extremely low. Does have the Doomfist ult available if they want to use it. As Khan did use their orbital right in that fight as well. And I believe get the Vote. No, they end up pulling the trigger, but they're down so many. Do they even go in off this? They're looking for the Juno. Who can they find the Junos? Sweeney though finds Psychoka in market as the contest does come through from the Vogue, not able to live on there much longer as damage coming through from the Reaper. Khan as well with the assist. Fire comes through. No, the Wraith is perfect from this Reaper player. Has the Death Blossom available. Finds before the B's able to come back. That is an Ajax. As the cage also did come down, and I mean Special Forces did a lot of ultimates there, but Psychoka with the Doomfist copy and with that bit of a Ajax at the very end there, just, you know, incredible play from the Godstack.
Yeah, and it shows why this composition is so powerful right now, right? It just commands space in such an aggressive way, right? The Brig Juno able to peel for each other, keep each other safe. It allows the Malga and Reaper to sort of act as, you know, two agents stacked on top of each other, right? Their range is limited, but if you are forced to go into this range, especially when it's, you know, you have to touch the objective in these situations, it's super crucial to see just how powerful they can be. Now, as we're heading over to the control center, it seems like Special Forces are going to at least make a minor swap, having the Malga of their own here. Probably just not seeing as many angles for the Doomfist, right? It's just, you're going to get caught in a lot of these corridors here, but we'll have to see how Vogue looks on this one when you don't have the peel of something like a Reaper with you.
Absolutely, and Special Forces did go into white here immediately. Saber finding Octo somehow, some way. Ekash getting very low heal. Is going to go down. Carlos finds the pick onto Tomikata and a sweeping kills as Special Forces. I mean, they just ran them over.
But I mean, it really does help when you're able to remove one of the supports from the backline like this, because Brig and Juno both on their own are not enough healing to keep a team up, but it's the power of them combined is what's really been setting them far and wide as the best support duo in recent months here. So Special Forces now have the good positioning, right? Anywhere Godstack wants to come from, they're probably going to have to waste the speed engage just to close some distance.
Like, okay, in the background here, looking for Sweeney, will find a good amount of damage on that Baptiste, has to use that shift. Shout used by the Mag on the side of Special Forces. The Con at going down at the beginning, though. Saber just doing a great job of taking down both supports. This Genji is on a rampage, and Sweeney just trying to trade back out. Does eventually, or sorry, Psychoka trading back out, does eventually find Sweeney. And I'll just survive this Tracer, and Tracer looking like she's setting up for a spawn camp on the Baptiste. Both DPS inside of Special Forces trying to clear her out so that the support can get back, and they do successfully do so as the Godstack reset for the last fight.
And Psychoka definitely has a difficult job here, especially on the Tracer, right? All it takes is one junk nade thrown at the wrong angle, and all of a sudden you are going to be sent running for a health pack here. But lots of space already taken by Godstack in this fight.
Fire being used by Carlos. Cyber finds a kick onto Octo once more, and the tire almost not even needed to be used for that Tracer kill. I mean, Saber, how are you finding a pick after pick after pick onto this backline of the Godstack? I mean, Khan and Octo, you gotta look out for each other here.
And this has all just been raw Genji neutral damage, right? These shurikens being thrown in, and you have the follow-up where it needs to be. So Special Forces have themselves in a beautiful position, right? They're going to be in final fight territory, 4 ults to their name. Godstack getting ever closer here, but if one of them dies before the fight can really have a chance to break out, they won't earn their ult in time for the fight.
Getting in is Ekash, has that cage available. Window used by Sweeney on the outside. Pulse bomb looking for... They cook with Pulse bomb, does throw it out, does not find the pick as Ekash goes down inside their own cage. Tan not able to find any damage with that Death Blossom, and Special Forces, they just need to clear these last couple kills. Octo not even building an ultimate this round. Khan not even building an ultimate this round, as those supports from the Godstack just not able to find that value. Saber shutting them down, shutting them out, and Special Forces line it up 1-1, 100% to 0.
I mean, what a resounding flip in terms of how this match was, right? I feel like Godstack was firmly in control on that first point, but coming here into Control Center, all it took was the Doomfist getting out of the way, Vogue being able to hold more space. It allowed Saber and Carlos to really sort of open things up with these DPS picks time and again, because again, they're allowed to play forward, right? The Malga just commands so much of a presence from the opposition that you can't ignore it. So we started on Garden after a technical difficulty. It seems like we're going to end here on Garden. Godstack now off of that Tracer, probably realizing that they have to go back to the skies with the Echo here. But Saber might actually be ready for it this time. Instead of the Genji piloting the Ashe, potentially just to take Saikoka out of the sky.
Both teams being up in a wide pin, already used by Ekaj. Get the Vogue able to match it. Ekaj getting very, very low. Shadow not going to be able to belly out of that one. Reaper getting half HP as well. Is going to come back in for the 2-point with that tank advantage. Goes to pin in on the Reaper. Just getting it healed up by their supports here on this corner. Wilson Smoke does find that Reaper, and Godstack, they're not down one, but they do still have their tank available. But Ekaj is going to be back here pretty quickly. We'll have to see how this fight ends up turning around as Ekaj is back now. He's going to be padding into white. Saikoka taking a lot of damage against low. Is able to survive that Ashe, though. Is able to peek around that corner. Ekaj getting extremely low as both teams just vying for the space here. Godstack finally find themselves into white, but Saber gets 2 as Octo and Saikoka both go down, and this DPS is just tearing up the lobby. Todd Mikita does trade Wilson Smokes in the backline. Eventually goes down to Swaney as Baptiste gets a pick for themselves, and I mean, Special Forces just shredding the Godstack as they try to walk into them here.
I mean, it's absolutely been night and day from that first round, right? Again, it's just the commanding presence. Voke on the Malga looks absolutely insane. The amount of times Ekaj really hasn't been able to find purchase on what is considered a very dominant tank. It's absolutely crazy.
Ekaj is in so deep here. Shot already used. Vogue able to find that kill. Octo does find the Lucio on the other side, though, as both teams are now even. Khan getting very low, does eventually go down Swaney. So we're under some pressure here from Saikoka, but the kill not able to come through as Saikoka just trying to live here, just pressuring the card. The pin comes through and getting down extremely low at 1 HP. Saber eventually picks it up, and it's another lost fight for the Godstack.
And Godstack, they're just having this very odd, uncharacteristic disconnect right now. I mean, they're just kind of going in. You saw it there in that last fight, right? Ekaj is just sort of charging in and immediately popping Cardiac Overdrive. That's the best tool Malgas have in order to keep themselves survivable in these fights. So when you're just wasting it on your own entry, it makes it really difficult.
Cage used by Vogue, but the orbital ray is up from Khan. Saikoka finds 2. Saber and Sweeney both down. Carlos trades out with the Riptire. Ekaj not going to be able to survive that one. Octo almost has this rally available. Mikna still has this Death Blossom. Are they going to use it? TP coming in. Death Blossom looks good. Ends up finding the kill on the Junkrat. Opts into saving it as Vogue is the only one here on this point here. Gonna pin away, gonna try to survive here and get some charge for their supports. Saikoka almost having an accident into the river, but is able to recall out of it. And Godstack, they finally win a fight, only having to use 1 ultimate here.
Yeah, I mean, Orbital Ray is the fight win ultimate for a reason. You saw what it just did, but Special Forces already passed into the side room, seeming really ready to go, but they're probably going to have to take a neutral fight here, right? Special Forces should opt into losing this, just forcing ults out from Godstack for this fight.
Ekaj pinning in, the cage canceled. Though Death Blossom not really find anything. Carlos just blowing him up to bits, and Godstack just trying to trade this out. Another ult in, another ult in. 4 ultimates used here in this fight, but it is lost in Special Forces. I mean, they saw this beat available for this recontest, and it's kind of scrappy if Godstack get one at all. He comes through from Wilson Smokes. He's going to the spawn. He says, nah, we've won this already. And I mean, Special Forces in a complete neutral are able to just swing it into their favor against 4 ultimates from Godstack.
I mean, I'm absolutely stunned, right? I mean, Godstack had every advantage in that fight there. I mean, coming in with 4 ultimates, but that cage cancel in that last fight. Again, it just shows a little bit of lack of synergy coming through from them right now. Potentially Ekaj just going in a little too deep, maybe thinking themselves immortal here, and the support line just not in place to help them. So now, you know, that puts Special Forces in a situation where they got that first map win, and Godstack are gonna have to find a way to respond with their pick.
Absolutely, and I mean, Ekaj at the end there just pinning into white, I think a little bit ahead of his team, and I really would want to see this Malga take it just a little bit slower here. But the aggression from Godstack does look good in the times that they're able to coordinate it properly, so we'll have to see if they make any adjustments for the next map.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what sort of adjustments and plans are in store here, because again, right, Special Forces, the only adjustments really made were over to once going over to the Malga, they looked so much better than the Doomfist, and you know, the nature of Doom right now, as much as I love Doom next person. Like, I'm sorry, this replay, that just exemplifies it right there, right? The entirety of God's Act was just sort of chucking ults in, but the synergy from Special Forces was able to burst them down. Like, being able to kill a Reaper before that Blossom kills anybody in that room is absolutely crazy, because that Blossom, dead to rights, should have killed at least 2 people. It's absolutely great synergy there that got Special Forces that win.
Sweeney with the lamp there was able to keep their team up while they killed the Reaper as well. And Voke as well, canceling the cage in the last fight is just great play coming out from that Special Forces squad. And
as it seems,
we do have a substitute coming in.
Yeah, we got some substitutions.
Swimpy will be coming in for Carlos on the side of Special Forces. No substitutes for Gotzak. And I mean, Special Forces, you know, with the sub into Swimpy, that means we won't be seeing the Junkrat here, but Saber is really the DPS that was popping off and kind of running the lobby last map, and I'm curious to see what kind of pick he's going to pull out here. Is switching between those traditional hit scans and flex DPS slots between the Genji and the Ashe, and really just saying, like, I can play it all, I'm here to win, I'm here to dominate, and really showing up in that kill feed.
Yeah, and I mean, this could sort of be a map read situation where you realize the Junkrat might not be valuable wherever we end up going. Because, you know, something to keep in mind, we did neglect to mention it here, but CGL playoffs functioning a little bit different this time around, where the losers are not only picking the map type, the map, but it's also the game mode, right? So obviously we're seeing here we're going to Hollywood for a hybrid, but Godstack actually had free reign, right? They could have taken us to flashpoint push, escort, whatever they felt, but they ultimately are deciding that Hollywood is going to be their bread and butter, which, you know, now seeing this, it definitely makes sense for the Junkrat to leave the lobby. Too much high ground, too much verticality. You're really just going to be launching those nades from such a distance that you can't reliably do what you want to with these long sight lines.
Absolutely, and, you know, Ekaj did state that Winston was his favorite hero, so I would expect a bit of a dive proposition coming out from the Godstack here, you know, would have been why they opted into this map, and Swimpy coming in instead of Carlos to play that Tracer here, just have some of that point congestion, be able to move that card along and be a bit more flexible than a Junkrat pick on a dive map like this.
Absolutely here, but we'll have to see how much dive really gets played as Special Forces currently hovering the Malga still for their defense. It just looks that much more comfortable, that much more confident, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for Godstack on this Winston look, right? Your dives are going to have to be incredibly on point, because otherwise, you know, that's going to be a situation where you're bursted down once you're in close proximity to Voke, but that's a good way to start.
Koga with the one clip on the Swimpy in Dark is just able to pick that one up for their team instantaneously, and Godstack got to a great start here. They are into that Baptiste Lucio Magna composition. They do not have a Kiriko online here, so Khan, if they hit this nade here, it's going to be huge. Nade going in does end up connecting on to the Malga, but the Winston is in on the background of the Ashe. Lamp already used Sweeney and pulling it down to the DPS Winston duo as Voke just trying to trade back here. Psychoka trying to peel, is unable to do so. Voke gets 3 fantastic play coming out from this tank, but Psychoka here is still healthy. Saber getting very low, is 1 HP on the point, ends up going down to the pulse pistols of Psychoka. Gonna have to grab this Mega here, just live for a bit of a second while the kid respawns, and Ekaj resetting with this team. All these respawns here is available. Swimpy looking for the 1v1 while they're isolated, and Wilson here to help. Recall being used. Pulse comes down, and oh, Swimpy, you blinked right into it as they go down to Psychoka with that pulse bomb. And the Godstack now up 2, up 3, going down. Sweeney trades out Ekaj. Psychoka finds that kill there, and Voke is the only one here left alive. Saber's here late, but he will not be able to find anything. Ends up backing out his Godstack. They cap first.
They cap first here. Beautiful dives coming through. They're able to execute, get it done. And now Special Forces making some interesting swaps, to say the least, right? You're going over to the Lucio Kiri just because you don't want to get dived as easily here. And so I absolutely get that. But now the Malga sort of feels out of place, right? I would not be surprised to see Voke potentially thinking about a swap over to, you know, potentially back into that Doomfist mirror here. But Psychoka already being just such a lethal threat here.
Oh, the Suzu did come in from Sweeney, though, with that teleport, and Saber is able to fire headshots before Psychoka could get the recall on. Vogue on the high ground here, finds Ekaj, no pin available, so we'll not be able to chase on these kills. We'll have it back in 1 second. Opts to use it, Dynamite comes through, and oh, you're so deep in. This comes in from Khan, it's good. They have the Nano available if they want to trade it out. It's like, okay, going down to Sweeney though, is headshot from the Kiriko, finding the target, and it's going to be a bit of a slow reset here, though. Look to this Winston onto that backline with the Nano boost from Khan. Going in now, and Cage used in response, just trying to prevent this Winston from finding value. Bubble used Primal popped as well to survive longer. Vogue getting very low, does use a shout. Instantly heal the full. Beat coming in from Wilson. Smokes is able to make sure that their team is stopped off. Headshot, half headshot. Saber taking down on Mikita. Psychoka still has his pulse bomb as Octo chooses to use the rally since this fight's winnable. Pulse bomb is used as well, not able to find their target. Sweeney has this rush should they choose to use it. Ekaj though getting very low, doesn't have armor, needs to back out. Khan just trying to keep their tank alive as Vogue just doing so much damage. The bubble coming through as Ekaj just is in a terror, not getting extremely low, sorry. Rush coming through from Sweeney. Bob used by Tom Mikita in response as well. But Vogue able to find that kill onto the Winston. Psychoka going down to the pin. Bob though finding Swimpy on the other side as both these teams should reset here in just a second, and Special Forces are able to clean up this fight.
In Special Forces, they're playing this the exact way they have to, right? Second point, obviously, full of high grounds, but you do actually have to move the payload a little bit before you can actually take advantage of them. So constantly holding this choke is the only way the Malv is truly going to be finding maximum value, especially against this dive composition. Now, you're seeing Ekaj off the Winston over to the D.Va, trying to live a little bit longer, but you're looking at how well that's going.
Bob used here by Saber, finds Psychoka. Nano was used onto Ekaj, not able to find any value with this D.Va, ends up getting D-magged by that Ash. Saber just doing a great job of holding that space, and Vogue does drop to that card, just trying to stop it from moving as Wilson finds the baby D.Va pick, and Godstack gonna have to reset here. Nano used, Vogue looking for these support kills. Psychoka's in, just trying to get the cleanup here. He's not able to find that kill as Saber finds the headshot, and Godstack, you're resetting again, and you have to start considering if you want to keep the sauna.
But yeah, it's going to be a massive consideration here, as well as just, you know, the actual plan to break through the choke, right? You've been seeing Psychoka be able to get some off angles, get some decent pressure in, but not coming up with the picks here, simply because they're under pressure and alone. Out of sight line's not going to really be able to be cared for by anybody. Potentially with Tomikita going over to the Reaper, this could be the assault on high ground they've been waiting for.
Finds the pick onto the Ash immediately. Cage is used by Vogue though, just trying to keep them all in this area so that they can deal a lot of damage. Getting kind of low. Pulse bomb did not find its target. Vogue here doing a lot of damage here. The Reaper has the Wraith available, still drops down to their support. Wilson Smokes takes the elevator back up, is able to survive. Pin coming through, it's a huge pin, a lot of damage, but the anti is good. Octo with the rally is able to fight back here and will be able to find these kills as Yatsak, they're breaking through. They are succeeding. That Reaper swap, finding them what they need.
Finding them what they need, being able to break it open here, but they still have to get to the end of point B before they can really consider themselves a good, successful offense here. Now with the Doomfist, I find this very interesting because, again, this is sort of accepting, right, we have to be able to contest the high ground, and Malga cannot do that easily here. Special Forces is coming in with a lot of tools, but they have to actually be able to convert on something here.
Rush coming through from Sweeney, beat used by Wilson as well. Support all stacked on top of each other. Khan has the Nano available still. Ekaj with the D.Va bomb as well. Swimpy though finds it up a pulse bomb onto the backline, and you do not want to use it on the fight where you don't have your supports here. As I mean, Swimpy coming up huge for their team at the end of this point is able to stop the push.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Godstack, right? They only invested the rally into that, so while they would be on their final fight, they're going to have a Death Blossom, the D.Va Bomb for spacing, as well as a Nano Boost applying wherever they want. They can make it a Beyblade or do whatever it has to for this Nano, right? If I'm Special Forces, I'm putting everything into Saber right now. This Bob is going to have to put in some miracle work here if they want to be able to continue to hold on point B.
Average just trying to build the rest of the ultras they need for that Bob. Timer is ticking down to 10 seconds. It's going to be OT soon. Nano boost used on that D.Va, but the punch is good. Make sure that that D.Va can't get on the back. Is 1 HP here. Not able to get anything off. Ekaj though trades out Saber. No Bob available for Special Forces. And this D.Va bomb is still here for the remake if they need it. They do get on the card before overtime starts ticking as Psychoka finds the Doomfist on the side. Bomb used here by Ekaj. Just trying to get that remix. Sweeney though finds the Ana in the backline, doing a great job of just trying to trade out those supports, and it's swinging in the favor of Special Forces here with those faster respawns. Octo getting in very low, does go down to Swimpy, and Saber is back with the Bob, doing a lot of pressure on this card here. Ekaj not having that bomb available. Tomikita just trying to go for the hero play, he isn't able to find it, and Special Forces, they hold at the end of second.
I mean, that was an impressive hold, to say the least, right? Even losing Saber early, it was not enough to stop Special Forces. They had the stall, as well as the damage, coming out in some raw 1v1s there, especially Wilson smokes that Lucio. You don't think of it as much nowadays, thanks to Juno, but certainly a force to be reckoned with, being able to deal the damage as well as stall that payload, giving time for our Ashe to return in time. And so now Special Forces, they have a very achievable goal, just getting to the end of second point pretty much to be able to take this map. But that being said, Godstack, they've had some good looks, but it seems like they are still, truly baffled at how to get some pressure on the Special Forces backline when they're playing this Lucio Kiri.
In Special Forces, I mean, it looked like they were in a bit of a tough spot where they had used both their support ults in that defensive fight, and they weren't able to find a pick right away, and Khan still having that nanoboost available, but Swimpy, I mean, with that sub in, with that pulse bomb, is able to find that backline, and I think that really helped them towards holding at the end of second point here, and we will see them roll out on the Malga again. I do kind of expect them to switch to that Doomfist should they cap first point, but Godstack, they're starting here on that Winston Ana defense.
And yeah, you're going to play with the Ana, right? Because the idea is to just build nano quickly, nano your monkey, and go in as greatly as you can, of course. But again, it's going to be about playing the range a little bit and going in at those choice moments, because you can't just jump on top of Vogue. Those miniguns will shred you apart on the Winston here. That's why you're seeing Special Forces currently immediately take their pathing up to high ground, sitting their Malga up top. And now they realize that their next point of assault has to be to Cafe to get these supports down.
ECAD applying some pressure on the backline, and Sweeney doesn't use that TP, but the penny comes through, is able to take it over that. Khan getting very low, nading themselves, will go down eventually. Zocta going down to Saber as well, and the backline here from the Godstack instantly bursted down. Wilson smokes, does take down the Tracer next. Saber finds the Reaper, and a pick comes into ECAJ, and holy, Special Forces just sweeping over them. Godstack not able to put up a defense there.
I feel like I could hear what Khan was saying in comms there. It's like, oh, the Malga can't clear this distance, as like the Malga charges over time and space to get to the top of Cafe. But again, right, it's a bit of a lack of synergy from Godstack. Ecash is all the way out main, a little bit far from the fight, not able to really help, so the support's being sent running to their own demise. And now, as you're seeing the setup here, Godstack trying to control this high ground, but really, for how long can they hold it?
And Ton Mikita on the street here, just trying to keep this Malga in check, doing a lot of damage. Evoke not able to survive, goes down to those Reaper shotguns, and Ekash doing a little bit of chasing, will not be able to find anything, as the payload here is still moving, as the Godstack are not contesting it quite yet, but they should drop in just a moment. Special Forces waiting for the tank to get back.
Waiting and waiting is going to be the name of the game, because again, this is where Malga is going to struggle, right? You are going to want to hold the payload. You're not going to be able to get up onto these high grounds easily unless you're, rotating to one of these elevators, and so it allows exactly what you're seeing from Godstack, them just sitting above.
Nano use on Ekash, gets the backline, finds Lucio immediately. Sweeney not able to help that with the Suzu. There's a lot of damage coming in to the front line here. Sweeney trying to trade out the backline of Godstack with the help of Saber and the Blade. The Brig is 1 HP, ends up finding that slash, goes to the Tracer. Recall used on Psychoka, has a pulse bomb available still. Ekash is just dying on that payload, trying to prevent it from moving along. Psychoka getting down to 1 HP, does get found by Saber, who had to use the Genji Blade there, and Special Forces, they win that fight out with the help of ults.
And yeah, so now you're going to be turning the second to last corner. You need the golden box of victory, will be in sight. Godstack, they're working with tons of ultimates, though. It's just a matter of they cannot overinvest, right? They need to ideally win this with only 1 or 2 ultimates. That way they have more in the bank to deal with what Special Forces can throw at them over these next 4 minutes.
Ekash getting very low, almost as a criminal available, uses it immediately. Rush coming in from Sweeney as the cage is used by Vogue as well. Pulse from Psychoka, damaging himself with that, not able to recall because of the cage, and Tom Mikita does find 1 pick, has that Reaper Blossom available. Can they be the hero? Ends up going for it. Saber goes down, but Vogue able to just trade it back out. As Special Forces, they're going to cap second here and take the map.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, it's over before you can even really realize it. You had a great play from Tomikita there on the Reaper trying to go to the backline, but while they were removing the Lucio, the rest of their team got removed behind them, so it's just a unfortunate situation where, again, this Malga is demanding too much presence and resources from the side of, from the side of Special Forces, where they're just continuing to go into these fights. Look at this, right? All of that healing and stuff is there exactly where it needs to be. to keep this Malga alive throughout the fight. So I don't know. Like, if I'm Godstack, I'm starting to feel a little bit pressed for time and running out of options.
Absolutely, and I mean, looking at it here, you know, you're struggling in this Malga matchup into Special Forces, and I think if you're the Godstack, you may want to consider potentially switching this break around for something else. It seems like that is one of the complications that they're suffering from. Just Octo not able to really find the value with those packs onto DPS, you know, not able to keep them alive through the damage that they need to, and if you switch over to something like that, Lucio, for that speed and the beat rather than the rally, you might be able to find more value with it. But I mean, it's really just Special Forces here playing extremely well on the compositions that they're selecting. And Twimpy coming in for the Junkrat player did do a great job on the Tracer. Contested card, pushed it, hit the double pulse bomb, and Saber though, really the one to look at here.
Yeah, absolutely insane DPS performances from the side of Special Forces, but Godstack, they are down but not out just yet. They still have a chance to sort of fight back in this series because, of course, you know, like we were saying earlier, they now have their pick of not just the maps but the modes, right? So they can take us to a variety of different scenes and locations. You know, maybe that's something that benefits and suits them a little bit more. But unfortunately, that will have to come on the other side of this break. We'll give the teams a little bit of time to cool down, figure out exactly what's going to be happening. But make sure you don't go anywhere because we will be right back. Welcome on back to a CGL here. Hopefully you got what you needed done during that break, because we got more action to deliver, courtesy of XYBA Productions. We have that lovely ad for them. Hire them. They do great work. And if you hire them, then you have a chance to hire us. But hey, maybe that'll be a negative instead of a positive here. But hey, we can look at the actual positive right now, which is Special Forces is up 2-0 right now on match point here against Godstack. And so far, Wicca, I mean, it really has been the lack of synergy that Godstack's been displaying that's been hurting them.
Absolutely, and we do have a sub in for Godstack here, as they will be switching out. There's Octo into MCG for this backline substitution, and we'll have to see what they bring to the table. But you know, with this substitution, I'm curious if we're going to be seeing the Vegeta come out from them, just as we saw coming out from Octo. But I would like to see a bit of a switch up here. You know, Vogue on that manga doing a great job of really punishing the backline for stepping up a little bit too far, and I do think Godstack would benefit from a little bit more flexibility in the backline here to play with their tank here, as Ekash, you know, clearly wants to be the aggressor in most situations.
Absolutely. And I mean, Ekash, you know, currently hasn't been able to display that aggression that they normally like to. It's just sort of been Vogue getting the better of them time and again here. But maybe maybe where we're heading could be a bit different for him, and maybe it'll work out. But I mean, something has to change for Godstack, right? You don't want to go to loser bracket this early on in the tournament, just because, you know, it's harder to fight your way back with your back against the wall the entire time. So we'll have to see if this could be the start of something big for them on Servasa.
You know, Servasa, a good at map for tempo switch. Flashpoint is a really volatile game type here, and we're going to be looking in just a moment at the compositions that these teams are pulling out on, but I would imagine we see Malga once again for both of them. He does have a bit of a favorable matchup here on most of these points because of the geometry, and you know, as we watch this game here for the reverse sweep beginning from the side of Godstack, it does look like they are going to be rolling out on the rig once more with MCG this time instead of Octo.
Yeah, I mean, so same composition here, so we'll have to see maybe if the synergy can be a little bit better. Fun fact for anybody watching, if you ever see the pigeons on Servas, there's a 99% chance that Orange is observing in your lobbies. So that's, you know, if you ever see those cameras, you can point it out in Twitch. You can be like, hi, Orange. Just tell them hi. You know.
Special Forces, though, they're going to be rolling out a completely new composition here. They have that Queen instead of the Malga. Both teams going to be meeting at the door of point 1, vying for that space. Is Ekash taking a lot of early damage here. Saikoka is on the Hanzo. Tom Mikita on the Reaper. A lot of damage coming from the Hanzo on the Tracer. Swimpy needs to get out of there. Does recall, but not before finding that pick on the Khan as they go down. MCG not able to keep them alive with those health packs. Is the angle here. Saikoka looking for trade. Does deal a lot of damage there. Cyber getting very low, but the Dynamite is good. MCG goes down as the Queen here is here to clean up the rest of the fight. Ekash does seem like he was able to escape from the fight. Going to give his team a little bit of volt charge in that department as Saikoka goes over to the Genji here.
And I mean, the Hanzo, it just takes too long to set up the angles you're going to need, right? So that I absolutely understand going over to the Genji now, but it is going to mean, again, coordination has to come through from Godstack, right? Ekash has to be charging in with Tomikita in tow. This cardiac overdrive has to be popped, you know, at the right times to make sure everybody's getting the benefit, and Saikoka actually just finds one out.
Saikoka finding, you know, on the cyber there. Vogue does trade out for Ekash though. Tank going down. Vogue here is pretty healthy. Almost has that Rampage. Not going to be able to find it. It's on Mikita and Saikoka take down that tank before it comes out. Swimpy here trading out though. And it is a 1v1 remaining for this point. But Saikoka just healthier than Swimpy here. Going to be regenning, looking to contest this card once more. Lucio is back. Wilson Smokes here to save the day. Saikoka getting very low. Dashes back to the team. Does get those health packs as the point begins flipping back over to the side of the forces. Vogue gonna be back soon with that Rampage. Do Godstack give the point? They do. Saikoka not able to contest it. Ekash taking some damage here. Almost has no armor available. Khan almost has the orbital ray. Saikoka dashing back up onto the high ground. The Suzy there from Sweeney as Rampage gets used. Ekash getting very low. Khan getting very low. Both going down to the ante from that Queen as the orbital ray not able to heal them while that effect is there. And it is there from Special Forces. Godstack end up going down and Special Forces take point 1.
They take point one exactly how they need to here. So now just 2 points away. Special Forces, still had to invest in that one, both the Rampage and Pulse Bomb here. So the Godsack at least can say they have a bit of advantage with this Death Blossom as well as the Blade coming close to being online here. But it becomes a question of how much has to be invested to win.
Wilson getting very low, though. Shot is used by Vogue. Ecaj getting low as well. Doesn't end up using the cardiac overdrive as Bob is in. A lot of damage dealt. Wraith used by Tormented. Khan goes down first, and you no longer want to use any ultimates through the Godstack, but the rally is already being used here. Bob ends up going down. Dynamite is huge. Lady comes through from Koka, getting very low. Does go down to the Dynamite, but it's trades for 2 as Special Forces are only up 1 here, but they're looking for the finishing blows as Knife comes through. Vogue able to get that kill with the help of Wilson onto MCG, and Godstack, they committed some ults into that fight. They really get some ults out. It's not too bad for them.
It's not too bad for them, but I do not like what I'm seeing. The switch over to the Baptiste, you're giving up all of your speed. That being said, you now actually just make the swap over to Lucio here, but this is starting to... This feels like Godsack is trying to make the calls that healing is the issue when I just don't believe that to be true. I feel like it's just, again, this lack of coordination, like Ecaj is getting separated, as you see now.
Ecaj taking so much damage. Cages used the Blossom here from Todd Mikita on top of it. The combo is good as Khan finds Wilson. The beat not able to keep them alive much longer. Vogue ends up going down as well. Saber here is left on the point as Swimpy is trying to get out of dodge. Saber finds 1 before going down as Swain TP's away. Doesn't have the siege available. Goes down eventually. Swimpy actually attached to the car here just trying to get the action percentage as Godstack. They're finally able to take this in their favor.
Flipping it after investing quite a bit on top of that cage here. So Special Forces is going to be coming forward. They have Pulse Bomb as well as Rampage to work with. It's going to have to be, one of these 2 tools. And Godstack, it's going to be on them to find the mitigating factor here. They don't have a sound barrier or anything like that. So Khan potentially having a massive task ahead of them with this Immortality Field placement.
Vogue just looking to use that Rampage probably when it comes down. Looking for some poke damage here as Khan building that ult. Rampage goes in with it. Ecaj getting very, very low in the front line. Is anti. The lamp comes through from Khan. It's good so far for the knife. Onto the Baptiste. The lamp is still alive. And Tom ends up finding the queen before Khan goes down. And oh my heaven, the way he's able to survive is coming down so close. So clutch. Is able to live with the help of the lamp. Is Godstack looking for the cleanup. A lot of trades coming through from Swift's side of Swimpy though, but Special Forces end up putting it in their favor actually.
Yeah, and being able to flip it, and now I don't think anybody from Godsack is going to be able to make their way to the point. You see the Tracer trying to set up potentially for some blinks, and say Psychoka can do it, but it does waste recall here, so now having to try to find a way to get through this is Godsack.
Ecaj with the pin did find the kill on the Ashes. Use the Bob into the backline though, but a lot of contention here for the Godstack on the point. They have Tom Negative with that Reaper, almost has lost an available recall used by Swimpy, not able to survive. Goes down to Psychoka, and seems like the Godstack, they're able to contest, they're able to get that touch, and they do swing the point back in their favor. Sweeney has the rush available coming back up, but 10% remaining, or 20% remaining here. We'll see if they even touch.
I mean, yeah, somebody's going to have to come through to touch. It might be a similar situation where it's either Wilson or Swimpy investing to make sure the touch comes through, but now Vogue will be here, but Vogue already so low thanks to that Amplification Matrix.
Vogue back on the map. Window is used. Psychoka finds the pick onto Saber. That's exactly what you want to see. Rush is used by the side of Sweeney, just trying to keep their team alive. Wilson, though, ends up still going down, but Swimpy trades it for Ecaj, and Vogue is still alive here, but the Blossom is able to find both Sweeney and Vogue as Ton Mikita shuts down the recontest, and Godstack able to line it up 1-1.
And that was absolutely amazing, right? A well-placed amplification matrix really made it difficult here. And you see Zabert immediately get off the Ashe, right? Again, it's about, heroes like Ashe are going to have to take a little bit longer setting up, making sure they're in the right sight lines and things of that nature. But we'll have to see, if the Genji can get close range like the Reaper can and continue to find the value.
Psychoka finding Sweeney at the beginning of the fight as Vogue goes down with their Kirko being gone. So very low, it does go down, in Psychoka opening up the fight for the Godstack. They're able to cap first here. That's great news for this team.
Great news. I mean, this is really a good turnaround for Godstack actually being able to lean towards, having some momentum under their feet now. Meanwhile, Special Forces are, again, sent reeling. Sure, they have the cage coming in this next fight, but they're just outnumbered in terms of ultimates. So this next one might have to just be another. Never mind, actually. Psychoka's
gone. Psychoka cage was used by both Magas now. This beat comes through from MCG to try to keep their Maga healthier. Pin coming back from the Vocus. He says, no, I can actually fight this. Shouts used on both sides. Ekaj getting booped out of the lamp, go down eventually, and Swaney with 3 this fight is just coming up in the kill feed for Special Forces, and Psychoka gonna have to get out of dodge.
Getting out of dodge is certainly the question, certainly the words for it here, but Special Forces being able to flip that is massive, right? Because it's only 50%, so even if Godstack come in and get another flip going, there's still time for Special Forces to be able to contest and fight for this objective. Psychoka lurking in the back line, though, with this pulse, it could disrupt everything Special Forces has done.
Recall having to be used by Psychoka, does have the pulse available still. Might be looking for it on the tank here as Swimpy doing a lot of pressure, just trying to chase out the Tracer down. A lot of damage coming in to Vogue. Beat used by Wilson just to keep their tank alive. Pulse does come down to Vogue as he goes down to Psychoka here, looking for the backline, trying to find Swaney. Application window almost available. Opts not to use it, getting so low there. Eventually going to Psychoka. But the blades up from south as the trades coming through for Special Forces, trying to find these kills, trying to find the pick. Deflect to use. Pin used on the side of Ekaj. This should survive another quarter second as we are down to a Tracer 1v1. Recall used by both Tracer and Swimpy. Here, it has a lower HP, and Psychoka able to find the kill. Vogue is back on the Queen, though. Psychoka not going to be able to count the cart. Lucio is back as well, just trying to survive. Lucio getting so low, though. Wilson, can you survive? Recall available for Psychoka again. Ends up using it there. Window coming through from Swaney. Window coming through from Khan as well. Lamp used on the side of the Godstack. Did not have that available as Ton Mikita in prime position to clean up this fight with that Death Blossom. Looking for it. Waiting for them to drop into their clutches. But a lot of damage coming through. Finds 2 picks on the side of the Godstack already. And on Mikita, you're not able to find what you want anymore. As those opening picks inside of Special Forces just putting the fight in their favor. Ton Mikita opting to save their Blossom instead of using it in that fight. And it's now 2-1.
2-1, 1 point separating them here. Godstack, it feels like Psychoka is doing everything they can, but unfortunately the clutch factor is just not enough right now. Heading over towards, Temple, we do have a slight ult advantage for Godstack, right? They're going to be coming up on a lot here, but as the story has been pretty much all match long, they can't over-invest. They've been having to throw in 3-4 ults to guarantee win fights. I think if they can actually finally start getting these fight wins with 1 or 2, we could see a very different story.
We do have Ekaj to the Kid in right here with the Blossom. They do have that combo. Net coming through. Shout used as well on the side of Vogue. A lot of damage coming in. I think though, can Vogue survive? No, they can. Cage is used by Ekaj. Lamb coming through from Khan just to keep their tank alive as they're able to clean up these kills. And 4-1, 5-0 as Godstack able to team wipe Special Forces here on the first fight of fourth point.
And they do it exactly like I was saying. Do not overinvest. Just a pulse bomb and a cage. So now you still have that Blossom constantly lurking threat from Tomikita here, as well as a sound barrier. The sound barrier is going to be crucial in making sure everybody survives, as Vogue is going to want to run through with the Rampage here. So giving that extra health, that shielding to try to keep everybody up will give plenty of time for Godstack to continue these fights.
Wimpy blinks off the map. That's not what you want to have happen. Death Blossom coming through. I'm not going to be able to keep Swaney alive, and Vogue did use the Rampage there, Saber trading one onto the Reaper, but, not able to find any more value there, and, I mean, a bit of a misinput from the Tracer player here as Swimpy just blinking into the Alligators wanted to say hi to their friends.
I mean, hey, one player's misinput is Godstack's reprieve. I mean, you'll gladly take that any day you can. Now Psychoka lurking in these important off angles here. If, all it takes is one more pick, and this point will go to Godstack's, and we'll see that final point unlocked.
Psychoka almost has pulse bomb available, trying to deal some damage to the front line just to finish building it up. Khan has, if they want to. Wilson beating to just get their team past this window here as Khan finds Wilson. Lamp used, pulsing him through, not going to find anything. Saber, though, finds MCG on the other side as well as that Lamp. Khan eventually going down to Swimpy, and no more sports to the side of Godstack. It's Ekaj against the world, finds the kill. Swaney goes down, and they're not able to touch the card as Saber going down to Ton Mikita as well, and we are evened up 2-2 on this Flashpoint map here.
And so now with the final point being what is at stake here, Psychoka having that pulse bomb is probably going to have to be the opening factor for Godstack in this fight. They don't have a lot of other tools to work with. Meanwhile, Special Forces, they have the Dragon Blade still to go. It means Psychoka, again, you have to sort of stop this before it can start because the opportunity for Zabber to pull this blade could be any moment.
Vogue taking a lot of damage here. Team opts go around back main, flipping map here. Not going to go down through this stairway choke. And Tom Mikita getting a lot of damage from the Swaney on the back piece there. Going to get healed up eventually, but very close to this Blossom as one is used by Swaney. Pin coming in from Vogue. A lot of damage on the Ekaj, just trying to live in this corner. Cardiac overdrive used by both tanks. Vogue getting so low, having to pin away. Dash coming through, but the Wraith is forced. Lid coming in. Can they find the pick on the Tom Mikita? Has to use the deflect, but Tom Mikita, no Wraith. So low, doesn't find the kill. Lucia going down next is Saber. On the rampage, can you find the back as well? 1 HP ends up surviving, but will not be able to turn this fight in their favor as Vogue is able to clean up both kills. And I mean, a hero blade from Saber putting it over into their favor that fight.
I mean, yeah, it almost went by the wayside, though. I mean, that blade needed those picks when they came through. But Godstack now, again, they have a massive ult advantage. They're coming up on most, if not all, of their ultimates in a rather rapid fashion. Meanwhile, Special Forces really only going to be working with the cage for this next fight. So Special Forces has to make a decision of if they want to try to make this fight theirs or if they simply give it up and force ult while they can.
E-Cash putting in immediately. Both cages used by these Malcolms as Wilson building so close up to this beat, but Tom making it with the blossom. Now they're finding kills. E-Cash getting so low as Ever finds the final blow. Khan dying with the window almost available. Psychoka trades out with well. So Swimpy trades out for Psychoka. Tracer finding the better of her counterpart. Tom making it ends up finally getting that Malga down as beat is used on the side of MCG. Only hits themselves though, a bit rough. Tom making getting so low. Has to use that Wraith. Is not able to get any healing before coming out of it. Swimpy on the point here with Swaney. They find the kills, and Godstack, do they even get a touch here? Special Forces, they're pushing up. They're looking for the kills. E-Catch getting very low. Wilson beating in just so they can sustain. Window used by Khan, trying to keep E-Catch up. Not able to do so. Is there a touch? There is not. And Special Forces sweep 3-0 to move forward in the upper bracket as Godstack fall to the lower.
I mean, that's just tragic, the way that was going back and forth on Flashpoint. It really looked like Godstack had a chance there, but just at the end, not being able to get anybody over to the objective. Absolute tragedy here. Godstack, they got better as the series went on, but it still just wasn't enough. Their synergy left tons of gaps for people like Zaber here to just go in and get pick after pick time and again here. And it allowed Special Forces to do exactly what we saw in that matchup. So, I mean, there's nothing else you can really say except Godstack now have a tall task ahead of them for a lower bracket run. But Special Forces now find themselves in the upper finals with one match standing between them and the Brands.
Absolutely, and I mean, Special Forces here, just some fantastic game coming out from this whole lineup. Godstack definitely putting up a fight of their own. They might be able to make that run it back through the lower into the Grands. We'll have to just tune in and see what this squad is able to do. As I mean, both DPS here for both of these teams doing so much for their squads, and I think the Malga matchup definitely favors Special Forces is Vogue switching around a bit more than I think we expected to, coming from this like OTP squad, and we will be able to have an interview with someone on Special Forces here in just a minute.
Yeah, exactly. But while we get set up for that, obviously, you know, it takes us a time. We're not technical super people here. We can't just magically have it all come together. So if you will bear with us, enjoy these replays and everything like that. We will be right back on the other side of a quick break with a interview from Special Forces. Alrighty, welcome on back. We, of course, finally have our selected people from the side of Special Forces. We have Get the Voke and Tark, a double interview here for the day. First off, how are y'all both doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah,
We heard
I'm
one
doing
voice. There
well
you
as
go.
well.
Hell yeah, that's what you like to hear. So yeah, I mean, starting this off, Wicca, I think you were talking about the Doomfist, mainly?
Absolutely. So just to launch into the interview here, when you guys switched to the Mauga instead of the Doomfist, was it a swap more of somber acceptance that, you know, that was what you needed to do to win the game, or is the Mauga more of your preferred comp?
Oh, I just love playing Mauga, I'm not gonna lie.
Loving playing Mauga, that's actually criminal behavior to say that. But no, I absolutely get it as well. Sometimes it's fun to just have too many guns shoot at things. But you know, going into this matchup, right, you didn't get to really select your opponent on the other side of things, right? It was sort of gifted to you at the hands of the other team getting their decision. So did you feel like it was going to be this 3-0, or were you expecting more of a fight?
Well, me and Carlos were looking to get. Well, we were going into this match pretty prepared since, for the first time maybe ever, we got our full team there actually. We've had some problems with people making it, so this was a great deal for us.
That makes sense. I mean, that's actually really good, you know. Sucks that it took until the postseason for everybody to be here for a match, but hey, better late than never, I suppose. And, you know, going through, obviously, there's been a lot of talk of this meta recently with the Juno Brig, but you guys didn't really feel the need to run that Juno Brig all that much. It was more of the Lucio Kiri. Is that just more of those comfort decisions coming through?
Yeah, I'd say it's more just comfort.
Yeah, I mean, they are a one-trick team at heart, so I mean, I'm kind of sad I didn't get to play, but the maps didn't really favor Ilari, so.
Hey, listen, I know an Ilari OTP myself, and yeah, these maps were not the ERA maps that you would be hoping for. But I mean, looking ahead, obviously, y'all are already now, because this is one of our smaller brackets, you find yourselves one match away from that grand finals. I mean, are you excited, nervous, or do you think just another day at the office?
I mean,
I'm
we
nervous.
definitely are excited. We also have some people who want to take revenge against Team EXE for our losses against them, so we hope to face them.
Oh, okay. The revenge story, that could be fun for EXE on the other side of the bracket. Well, before we let you go, let you celebrate and things like that, figure we'll give y'all a moment if there's anybody you want to shout out, anything you want to say, this would be your floor to do so.
I want to shout out the whole team because I think we played really well today, especially with our new player, Zaber.
Yeah, I mean, Saber did really well, but Vogue, you were amazing. Some of those rollouts I've never seen before, so you are the one I want to shout out for this one.
Well, thank you, man. I just like wasting my time playing Mauga.
I mean, hey, clearly not a waste with wins like that. So we'll go ahead and let y'all celebrate, and we'll be looking forward to seeing more from your squad.
See ya.
Alrighty, and I mean, Wicca, just, you know, all around, right? Very simple, very easy. Special Forces, they're just looking strong right now.
Absolutely, and they like to play the Mauga, you know, and going into this, you know, with the new patch, we did know that Mauga was one of the options that some teams were opting into, and it seems like fortune has favored the bold as they're able to take this 3-0 with that pick, and we'll see if they carry that momentum with that choice into further into the winners bracket here.
We will have to see, but that is another conversation for another day here as we're winding down. Of course, I'd like to thank everybody behind the scenes. You know, Echo we had producing, we had Orange, Reach, as well as Hippie all putting up those fun little observers as well as replays for you, you know, because if it weren't for them, we couldn't yap over the game. Speaking of yapping over the game, of course, I've been Megalas. I've had Wicca by my side. It's a pleasure as always, Wicca.
Absolutely.
And without further ado, we will see, I think there's some NA games tonight, so make sure you tune into CGL tonight for some of that. Otherwise, bye-bye.